Topics in Math, Chapter 3, Reflections over the X and Y axis. All right, first thing, go ahead and try these 3 warm-up problems. Pause the video and then check if you got it right. Okay, check your answers, make sure those are correct, and then we'll get into the lesson. All right, polygons in a coordinate grid can be written in a matrix. So we're trying to figure out today, how would the coordinates change when the polygon is reflected over the x-axis and over the y-axis? Okay, so the first row, that's going to be like our x value. The second row will be our y value. Put that over here. Okay, so point A is the point 2, 1. Point B is the point 5, 5. And point C is the point 1, 3. So we have triangle ABC. Let's go ahead and do that number 2. Reflect the polygon over the x-axis. All right, so we've got the x and y axis. The x-axis is the horizontal axis. So if I want to reflect those points upside down, instead of A being the point 2, 1, it's going to be 2, negative 1. So I can rewrite my A prime is 2, negative 1. We can call it A prime, A with apostrophe. B, instead of being 5, 5, if I reflect it over the x-axis, it's going to be 5, negative 5. And then finally C will be the point, instead of 1, 3, 1, negative 3. And then connect the dots. All right, so our B coordinate was 5, negative 5. B prime, and C prime was 1, negative 3. All right, so what do you notice about these points from the original points? It's looking like the y coordinate is the one that was switched. So when we reflect over the x-axis, if you have, this is like the notation that we'll write it in. So the little r here stands for the reflection over the x-axis. So the reflection over the x-axis of the coordinate xy is going to give us x, negative y. So the x will stay the same, the y will become negative. All right, what we want to do on this next example is go ahead and graph the original coordinates and give the coordinates a reflection of the x-axis and then graph that. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the reflection first. So if we want to make that y negative, it's just going to change the sign. So on these ones, they started negative, we're going to turn it to positive. All right, so I'm going to pause the video and graph the original and then graph my new one. All right, so we can see our original and our new one, and they are reflections over the x-axis. Go ahead and try example 3. Pause the video. All right, so we have our new coordinates 2, negative 3, negative 3, negative 2, and negative 1, 4. And you can see that it's a reflection. All right, what would change if it's a reflection over the y-axis? So we're going to reflect our coordinate over the y-axis. We can try one and see what happens here. So go ahead and plot those points. A, negative 2, negative 1. B, negative 3, negative 3. And C, negative 5, negative 2. All right, so if we want to reflect each of these points over the y-axis is the one that's going up and down. So our first point would be, instead of negative 2, negative 1, it's going to be 2, negative 1. And instead of negative 3, it'll be 3, negative 3. And instead of -5, -2, or 5, -2. So the notation for reflecting over the y-axis, reflection over the y-axis, so it's going to be a lowercase r because we're going to have rotations, which is capital R. So lowercase r sub y of the coordinate xy, what's going to change is the x is going to become negative. Okay, the y is staying positive. All right, so go ahead and do the last two. You can pause it, and then we'll pop the answers up here. All right, so if you do the reflection over the y-axis, again, it's just going to be the x-coordinate that becomes the opposite sign. The y-coordinate stays the same. All right, let's look at the homework assignment. For your homework, you're going to do 4 of these, both reflecting over the x-axis and then reflecting over the y-axis. Oops, 1 through 4. And then on the second page, you're going to do some review with matrices. So I really just want to keep reviewing how to do the multiplying the matrices and adding them. One like number 7, e squared, you're going to take the E matrix times itself. So it's going to be the 10, 3, -2, 1. Remember to check the dimensions to make sure you can do that. If it's not possible or undefined, you can write it that. Okay? And then the last section, find the missing element. So 3 plus 4 equals what? So you're trying to calculate what is A, what is B, and what is C. Okay? So 3 plus 7 equals C would be 10. A plus -6 equals 12. So what should I add to A? Okay, find that last one. Similar for number 15, just make sure you distribute that 5 through before you get started. All right, that's your assignment for today. It's called Reflections over the X and Y axis.